So good morning, welcome everybody, both here in the room and the 100 plus people at home. Welcome to the Retired Living Truth series. My name is Brett Janelle and I'll be your host today. Welcome to those who are new here in the room. I see a couple of new faces and also those who are at home. Today's topic is 55 plus senior living options. And interestingly, I had someone call a week or two ago just asking, didn't you do this topic a couple of years ago? Has anyone else been to this topic before? Oh, a couple of people, so it's new to a lot. And they were just wondering if this was going to be the same as what we did, I guess, maybe 2 years ago when we did this topic. And for those who have been to topics that we've done more than once, you know they're always different. We always ask different questions, different panelists, so today will definitely be different. But the reason why we're repeating it is we sent out a survey to everybody last year. A little technical problem in the back. A survey last year and asked what topics people wanted, and quite a number of people said, could you do senior living options again? And that was obviously a popular topic. And I know personally, every time we repeat a topic, I always learn something new, and hopefully you always do as well. We get a different perspective. So what we're going to cover is we're going to talk about different aspects of the different senior living options that are available to us. And as you can see up here on the slide, there are a number of different areas. And the first one, the blue box on the left-hand side, and everybody should have this in their handout here in the room, and also those people who are at home, you would have received an email about an hour ago with a link to the handouts for today. And it's probably remiss of me to say, anybody in the room, we've started giving out binders for you to be able to hold all of your materials. So if you don't have a binder that you picked up at a previous seminar, put your hand up and Annette or Kirsten will get one over to you. So a couple of people there, great. The whole idea of being able to put your handouts in these as we go along. So, yes, everyone in the room I can see has a handout, so fantastic. So the blue box that I have highlighted, titled Aging in Place at the top, this blue box is one set of options, and we've covered this before. I think last year or the year before we talked in great depth about people wanting to either age in place, make modifications to their home. If they don't want to make a move, they already believe they're in their forever home. So aging in place is one option. The second option, perhaps downsizing, moving to something more manageable, is perhaps a manufactured home or a condominium or a townhome. And then there's also active 55 plus homes or apartments, places like Regency and Toscana and so forth, where you can move into something that's more manageable and smaller, doesn't have a big yard and so forth. But today what we're really going to focus on is the three middle boxes: independent living, assisted living and memory care. And down the bottom you'll see a box titled continuing care retirement communities. So we don't have any of those here in northern part of the state. We have them in down by Las Vegas, there's one. There's certainly in California, Oregon and Washington. And if anyone has questions, we can certainly talk about that at the end. But I just wanted to give us a complete picture of what all the different options were. And if you are interested in the blue box, I know Annette was on a panel and she's at the back of the room. We had a lot of handouts about the different options, so if that's something you want to find out more information about, you can. It's also on our website. And for those people who are new, I should have mentioned the format for today is I have three wonderful panelists who are going to talk in depth with me about this topic. But what we're going to do is, as we've done in the past, I have prepared questions for them, and we'll do that until about 11 o'clock. And then we'll open it up to audience question and answer. So those people at home who are on Zoom, if you're thinking of questions as we go along, there's a Q&A box in your Zoom window. Feel free to type in your questions and we'll get to those. And when we open up Q&A, you'll have the ability to raise your hand and we'll actually take questions and we'll be able to hear what you have to say. And to the people in the room, we have a microphone at the back and you can walk up and ask the questions of the panelists. Am I missing anything in there? Nope. So today we're going to go in more depth and learn more about what independent living, assisted living and memory care are all about. And I have three wonderful panelists that I'd like to have come and join me. Oh, if anyone's got their cell phone on, we had a problem the last couple of times. Just make sure your cell phones are off. Yep, thank you, Annette. So if I can have my panelists come up and join me, Mark, Heather, Stacey, come up and take a seat. Heather, sorry. Could you introduce yourself and tell us why you're here today, a little bit about your background and how it relates to our audience today?
Absolutely. My name is Heather Wolf. I am the Director of Sales and Marketing for Mountain Lakes Estates, brand new community here in South Reno. I'm here to share a little bit of knowledge about what independent living is all about. I've been in the business for a little over 3 years, and it's very personal to me. I took care of an aging parent for 9 years, and so senior living is just, I'm really passionate about it because I firsthand experienced what it was like to have a parent who is aging. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Wonderful. Thank you, Heather, for being here. Mark.
Yeah, my name is Mark Regan. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing at Cascades of the Sierra. And I've been in senior living now for 3 years. And before that, for about 26 years in hospitality. So I enjoy working with families and helping them. I've been up at Cascades for just coming up on 2 years. And I've really enjoyed it. It's very fulfilling.
Thank you, Mark. And Stacey.
Good morning, my name is Stacey Taylor. I'm the Executive Director at Clearwater at Ranchera. I have been in the business for 7.5 years now. My former life, I was a banker in Reno for 23 years. I absolutely love what I do. I find when I go home at night, as tired as I might be, that I know that in some way, shape, or form, I've made a difference in someone's life, and that's what gives me joy. I've been at Ranchera. We're the newest assisted living and memory support community in Reno, and I've been over there just a little over a year, and look forward to being here today. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course, Stacey. Always a pleasure. So my first question to you is, a lot of us are in a home that we love, and we have no plans on moving. It's our forever home. Does anyone feel that way like me? I'm already in my forever home. Why would I even think about moving? It's like, that'd be crazy. But what are some of the reasons that cause people to move? Maybe I can start with you, Heather. Maybe you can give us one reason. Why would someone even consider moving?
A lot of times people come to us because they're ready to downsize. The home has gotten too much for them. The upkeep, the landscaping, just taking care of the day-to-day expenses of taking care of a home. And plus, people come to us because they're lonely. Especially with COVID this past year, we find a lot of seniors have been really reclusive, and they're looking for social engagement. They're looking for an active lifestyle, and they're ready to have this part of their life be the best part of their life. And we do that, and we share that experience by sharing our community and just sharing different activities that are going on in the community. It gives people an opportunity to socially engage. So yeah, senior living it's really growing. It's an important part of senior living.
Wonderful. So Mark, why would I consider moving? What's another reason why I might, maybe not now, but maybe at some point in the future?
Yeah, with the downsizing, as Heather shared about the social part, and just to touch on that, if you think about it, we go through our lives, we're working, raising families, we retire, et cetera, and it's kind of like one of those slow little things that happens, and you forget about how important it is to be social and interact with others. So I think that's certainly a key one. Another one is nutrition. Oftentimes it's hard to shop, cook, and clean for yourself or just for two people. So a community typically will have that where they can help support that. So your nutrition, you're getting the best that you can get.
Thank you, Mark. So Stacey, give us another one.
Sure. Sometimes people will move for health reasons. Maybe we're not as fast as we used to be, or we don't get around as easily as we used to, or we have stairs in our home. Sometimes we're seeing things change, and so that's where assisted living comes into play. We have people that can help with those care needs. They're called activities of daily living to help you lead a better life.
Wonderful. Did we miss any? Are they the main ones, or any others come to mind?
There is one other, medication management. This is a big one. I find myself sometimes, my husband will say, "Did you take your medications at night?" I mean, it's something to think about. So we do provide medication management in the assisted living and memory support communities. It's hard to remember to do that. And so we actually do all of that for you, from ordering to passing the meds and the charting, everything that we've done. Medications play a big role in our lives.
And Brett, one other one, just
Yep.
is overall, activities or exercise. Oftentimes, if a senior is at home, they're probably using, maybe 25% of their 4-bedroom home. But they're not on a daily basis getting a lot of exercise. And that's one of the other things that sometimes just slowly just slips away, and, just simply walking. And so that's another one.
Excellent. I remembered to walk this morning, but I forgot my vitamin D and it didn't remind me. Maybe I need some help and management. You were going to say something?
One more thing, Brent, is education is really important for seniors too. In independent living, it's really important to engage not only mentally, but physically. And independent living can offer that. Just to keep you engaged on things that are going on. Sometimes if you're not being socially engaged, you kind of forget some things. And it's important to constantly feed the mind and the brain. And so independent living can offer that as well.
Wonderful. So while we're talking about independent living, how does that look different to where I might be now, where I'm independent, I have my own home? How does an independent living community look and feel different to those of us who are living at home or renting an apartment? Or
Right.
whatever the case may be?
That's a great question. So independent living, you are independent. The difference is that you don't have the upkeep, the day-to-day, taking care of your home, the garden, utilities, or things that fall apart. With independent living, and they're all different. There's several options to choose from, but most independent living communities are inclusive. So you pay a monthly fee and everything is included. It helps because now you get to enjoy your lifestyle. This is something that you've worked your entire life for, and you get to now be socially active and engage and not worry about the day-to-day stresses of taking care of a home.
So what does it cost? Would be
It really depends on the community, but the average cost can run anywhere from $2,400 a month, and it can go all the way up to $5,000. It just depends on the community, the apartment that you're looking for, and where you're located.
So can you just repeat again the things I don't have to pay for? So I'm
So-
trading my current expenses for
Right.
$2,400, but what expenses again am I getting rid of?
So it's an inclusive community. So you pay a monthly fee and everything's included. So your rent's included, all of your meals are included. Most independent living communities have culinary chefs. So you don't have to worry about preparation for meals. Your utilities are included. If you need transportation, that's also included. And then activities both inside and outside the community, those are included. A lot of independent communities will have a wellness program, so it keeps you active. And social engagement. You're going to walk outside your door and you're going to have immediate friends. You're going to have an immediate a community that's going to be hand in hand with you. So it's, if you look at the cost factor and you take away all the things that you don't have to pay anymore, it really balances itself out. Excuse me.
Wonderful. So Stacey, Mark, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't know if you hit on another one is cleaning. I don't know if you hit on that or not, but that's one where at most, communities, they'll come in weekly and clean, they'll do the dirty work. So that's taken off your plate. I always usually say pretty much everything's included except your telephone. And if you want, HBO and the sports package and all that, but most of your other daily expenses are you typically covered. And so it just makes life a little bit more enjoyable.
Sure.
And easier. And, for most, you deserve it.
Excellent. I think that housekeeping is priceless. So Stacey, how does the assisted living memory support community look different from what Heather just described to us?
In assisted living and memory support, we have care partners and medication technicians. We have a nurse on staff as well that can help with some of those needs that you might have, whether it be.
Stacey, can I stop you for one moment? That microphone is cutting in and out. It's not you. Would you mind sharing with Mark? I don't know why we're.
Is it on? forget where I was at. We have, I think I mentioned, we have a nurse on staff that can help with some of the things such as bathing, dressing, grooming, toileting, incontinence care, escorting, transferring, things of that nature. Medication management is one of the most important because so many of our seniors are taking their medications improperly and causing other health concerns. We allow you to be as independent as you like. The whole thing behind assisted living is that we are there when you need us. We have call buttons that you push if you need us, but we won't be interfering on a daily basis. We've got different care plans, and that's when we'll be in to see you. We'll make sure you're eating well and having good nutrition with a meal census and things of that sort. So the whole part of assisted living, many people will move directly into assisted living because they don't want to move twice. And moving can be stressful. We've all done it, and it can be stressful. The Janelles are good at helping you out with those kind of things. But assisted living, many people will move into assisted living knowing that when they do need help with their activities of daily living or medication management, they will already be there. Memory support is a little bit different. Memory support are for those that have a diagnosis of dementia or Alzheimer. It is determined by your doctor, the level of the dementia. There are several different types of dementia. It is a unit that is mirrored very much to assisted living. We provide the activities in memory support, good nutrition, exercise, and connecting with others. So it's just a safer environment for those that possibly might wander. It is a locked environment, safe and very loving.
And the cost, if we started with assisted living, how does that compare to independent living? Assuming I didn't need any assistance, maybe I want to start there because I know I'm going to need help. How does it compare on the lease part?
Certainly. So again, it really depends on your community. They range from anywhere from $4,000 up to $6,000 or $7,000 for your room, depending upon the size. We have several different apartment types.
So if I didn't need assisted living, I would be better to be in independent living at least from a financial point of view. So they're not the same in terms of the base cost, correct?
They're usually a little bit higher from assisted living to independent living. Yes.
Right, a lot more skilled
That
staff.
is correct, because we do have more skilled staff with nurses and our trained care partners and our trained medication technicians. So yes.
And then is that a flat rate for the additional help beyond the base rent? Or is it tiered? Or just tell us a little bit more how that generally
Certainly.
works.
Our nurse assesses all of our residents as they come in. We also are very much regulated by the state of Nevada. So we get all of the necessary forms from them. We get a physician statement where your physician tells us a lot about you, what they feel you can and cannot do, medications being one of them. And they also tell us, can they leave the community alone unassisted, different diagnoses that you might have. So coupled with the physician's report and our nurse's assessment, we determine a level of care. The assessment is done with the resident and their family, and we'll go through a series of questions to see what we need to do to help you have a good life, whether it's bathing or dressing or escorting or things of that sort. After the assessment is done, we are able to give you a level of care, and that level of care equates to a number, a cost.
Perfect. And then how do we pay for this? Is this covered by Medicare, Medicaid, VA? Do I have to pay? Just tell us a bit more about the financing of.
So most of assisted living and memory support are private pay. There are a couple of programs out there. If you had taken out a long-term care policy at work or through your insurance agent in your earlier in life, those very much help. And then there is a benefit for veterans, the Veterans Aid and Attendance, which is also a benefit that can help with assisted living and memory support.
Okay, wonderful. And then if I can just jump back to you, Heather, how does that contrast in terms of how we pay for it versus assisted living? Is it the same things apply that Stacey just shared with us, or
So independent living is a little bit different. It's
is your microphone still on? One sec, let's give it a couple of seconds to kick in and just leave it on too. Yeah. Yes,
Okay. So independent.
no,
living-
it's not.
Oh,
Can't read what it says. Try it again, put it across. Just the people at home won't be able to hear. No, you should see lights come on the screen. Okay, now try.
Okay, how about now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. So independent living is mostly private pay. There are some resources that are available, but mostly it's private pay.
Okay. And then just jumping back to the assisted living, sorry, Mark, microphone backwards and forwards. If I have a spouse and one of us feels like we should be maybe an independent, but my spouse needs the additional help, can we both move into the assisted living community?
Certainly, we have many residents that are independent and the spouse needs a little more care. Absolutely. What's nice is then you can be a spouse. We're better family members than we are caretakers oftentimes. And then you can be together and enjoy that part of your relationship instead of being the caretaker.
Wonderful. And if we're assuming we're both in assisted living, not memory support, is the cost like twice because there's two of us? How does that kind of work?
There's usually a second person fee, which is anywhere from $800 to probably $1,000, covers the cost of food.
Okay. And going back to independent, how does that work if it's a couple moving in?
Pretty much the same thing. There's always an additional cost for the second person, and that does cover the cost of food, utilities, things like that. And it can range anywhere from $750 up.
And if I or my spouse need some additional assistance, we aren't quite ready to move into assisted living because we just need a minimal bit of help. Are there options in independent living, or do I really have to make a move?
So the great thing about independent living is you are independent. However, if you do need a little bit of help or you need care and service, home health is able to come in and assist. We have several people at our community that just need a little bit of help. Maybe they had a situation where they had to go to the hospital and then they came home and they needed a little bit of assistance. Home health can come in. And so that's the beauty, because you don't have to go to, say, skilled nursing or something like that. You can come home and you can get well and you can have somebody come in and help you.
Perfect. So Mark, looking handsome there, wondering why you're here.
Yeah.
Over to you, Mark. So your community is a little bit different. And the great thing here is we have so many different options and it's going to be different for everyone. You know, some of us just are quite fine aging in place. Some of us need to be in a community or choose to be in a community. And we have lots of great options here. But your community is a little different again to what Stacey and Heather have described. Sometimes we refer to yours as a continuum of care. So how does yours look and feel different to what we've already heard?
Right. It's obviously a combination of all. We do offer at Cascades, and there's others here in the Reno area and all over that offer the full continuum, where you have independent living apartments, assisted living apartments, and memory care all under one roof. And just to touch on a couple things that Stacey and Heather touched on, trying to simplify it a little bit from a cost standpoint. Typically you're independent living, you're just paying one amount. And that covers, as we talked about, a lot of things. In assisted living and memory care or memory support, it's really kind of broken down into three parts. Your first part is your base rent. That's the apartment, utilities, meals. Then you have medication management. And then you have the care levels that Stacey spoke to. And I always kind of phrase that as the more assistance one needs and the more often they need it, the nurse, the care level will be higher. And obviously over time that can change either way. Your care level could go up, it could actually go down. Oftentimes when seniors move into a community and they get a little bit of exercise, nutrition, medication management, the social aspect, they can actually start doing better. So that's kind of nice. At Cascades and Our apartments, we have 1 and 2 bedrooms in independent living. They're right around the 35 to 4,500 range. In assisted living, as Stacy said, it goes up a little bit more. If there's a real high care level, I could go up to 7,000 or 8,000 a month. But our main focus in the community here is it's the safety and well-being of our residents. And, it was very difficult for everybody over the last year. And as we work ourselves out of COVID, even more so for seniors and, the masks and the separation and all that. But hopefully we're all better for it.
So with a continuum of care, given it's all under one roof or on one campus, so to speak, I guess it must be way more expensive than an independent community or an assisted living memory support, correct?
No, not necessarily. It's
Okay.
still, it's a 1-bedroom independent living apartment where, at least at ours, you have a full kitchen. You have your own washer and dryer, so you can kind of do your own thing, but we're there with meals, with cleaning, with activities, with transportation. So it's pretty similar. I think as Stacy might have, there's a lot of similarities between communities, the location, the size of the apartments, that all factors into the pricing. One of the nice things with the continuum, and we may touch on this later, but we have residents in independent living that they love that. They want to stay in those apartments, and they'll have home health companies come in. Vic from Amada will come in and his folks, and they will, maybe it's 3 hours twice a week just to give a little of assistance. At a certain point, it may be more cost effective to move over into assisted living and kind of get that 24/7 care kind of always being there. One nice thing with that is your friends that you've made in independent living are still there. You can still enjoy a meal or an activity with them because you're all under the one roof. So that is one benefit to the full continuum.
So just on that, how does a independent apartment look different to an assisted living apartment? Is there a difference between them? That's for any of you.
Yeah, typically when you get into assisted living, the apartments tend to get a little bit smaller. One big difference at Cascades in our independent living, we have a full kitchen, just like you have at home, with the full-size refrigerator, the stove, microwave, dishwasher. You can cook as much as you want or as little as you want. In assisted living, it's a smaller refrigerator, microwave. It's kind of like a little bit, just to do some of the basics. So that's one big difference. So the apartment will get a little bit smaller.
Okay, size and then kitchen are the two differences. So then why would someone come to a continuum of care community and choose that over an independent living community that's just independent or assisted living? What's the appeal? And then I'll ask you guys the contrasting question.
Sure. One of the basics is planning for the future. You don't have to move. You could have a home health company come into your apartment in independent living and assist you. But if you need to move and get a little bit more help, you literally, you might have to change your apartment, but you're still in the same community, you're friends. So I think that's a big part.
Okay. And then in terms of how we pay for it, is it the same as what Heather and Stacey went over in terms of the forms of payment, or is it different because it's a continuum of care?
No, same as,
Same.
yep.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. So let me jump to you, Heather. Why would someone choose a independent living community over a continuum of care? Obviously, you have lots of residents, as do all of our communities. What do people say to you? Why do they want to be in not your specific, but in a standalone community versus a continuum of care?
And that's a great question. So independent living really it's a lifestyle. It's an active lifestyle. People that move to independent living, they want to enjoy their life right now. They're not, people that go to independent living are not people that are just going to hang out in their apartments. They're going to get involved in activities. They're going to get involved in education. They're going to be going on trips together. They're going to be really, really active. And that's what they want. They want to be in an active community. the great thing about independent living is it kind of prepares you also for when and if you have to transfer into assisted living or memory care. But for the most part, people come to independent living because they really want to be active. They want to engage socially. They want to be involved in educational things and just be active.
Okay, but I assume I can do all of those same things at Mark's, being an independent.
Right.
So is there, I'm just looking for something more specific to differentiate.
So with us, I mean, us over at Mountain Lakes Estates, we really pride ourselves on sharing the lifestyle experience. In assisted living, they have that as well, but with independent living, everything that we do is to create a lifestyle experience for you. And it's the experience too, of social engagement and different activities and having friends and still being independent and making your own decisions, coming and going as you please. We have some residents that, they're there for a couple months and they're going off to travel and engage and enjoy their life in different areas. So it's a little bit different because you get to come and go as you please. And it's just a different experience than assisted living.
So would it be fair to say that if I was an observer looking, just trying to help the audience
Yeah.
understand, it would look, everybody's pretty much active. Versus if I
Exactly.
went to a continuum of care, I have
Correct.
people at the different levels. Would be a
Correct.
distinction perhaps?
Right,
Okay.
absolutely. That's a good way of putting it.
Okay. And then Stacey, so why do people come to assisted living memory support community versus a continuum of care? And there's no right or wrong answer. It's different for all of us. So we have to work out what's important to us, but just so we can understand the differences.
We mentioned several of them, health being one of them, nutrition being another, and being isolated. The worst thing that we can do for ourselves, we're more of a tribal people and we like to be around other people. And we've done such a disservice over the last year with COVID. We did what we had to do to keep everyone safe, but we've all been feeling that tinge of loneliness. And so those are really the reasons why people would move into assisted living. And again, many move there the first time knowing that they don't want to move again. We too also pride ourselves on an active lifestyle. We're all at different phases in our lives. We all have different things that we're working on. So we meet our residents where they're at. And with that, I mean, we dig deep. We take questionnaires. What did you do? Where did you grow up? What did you do in life? What things did you like to do? What kind of music do you like? Where did you go to school? We dig deep. We get those answers so that we can gear our programming to you and meet you where you're at, because everyone is important. With memory support, it's more of a need. If cognitive decline is happening, if you've been diagnosed with dementia or Alzheimer, memory support, memory care is what is needed. They go through specific training, and we have a program that was written by a published geriatric professor. And so we have this program to bring our residents together and get them involved in different activities. Just because someone has dementia or Alzheimer, they still have a lot to offer and a lot to give.
Mhm.
It's my happy place when I go back there. You'll see artists that still can draw the most beautiful pictures. You'll hear them singing and it gives you goosebumps, the programs that we have for them. So assisted living and memory support are based a little bit more upon needs. But like I said, many people will move into assisted living knowing that I don't want to have to move again.
And I assume, again, if you've got a spouse and one needs help, memory support, one can be in assisted, one can be in memory support, irrespective of which type of community.
Absolutely. And then again, you're not the caretaker, but you're meeting each other on a daily basis. Now with COVID restrictions being lifted, you're able to see one another and be a couple and share conversations and such with each other.
Excellent. So can you think of any other differences we didn't cover between a continuum of care community that has all three versus, independent or assisted memory support? I think one that comes to me maybe is size, population. How many people are in the community? If you're looking for maybe something smaller, then the standalone might be more appropriate. But if you're looking with lots of people about and never having to move again, then a continuum of care would be an obvious change.
That definitely could be. Size does play a factor, but again, there's many communities, some very large, and some that are smaller. So there's lots of choice out there. We have 91 assisted living apartments and 38 memory support.
Yeah, and at Cascades, we have 115 independent living, 96 assisted living, and 36 in memory care. And one of the other advantages, and Stacy kind of touched on it a little bit, was, and we just had a couple, they moved in about a year ago into a large 1-bedroom independent living. And the wife needed extra care. And so she moved into a studio in assisted living. And then the husband actually moved right around the corner into a smaller 1-bedroom. They can still have meals together, still do things. They sit in front of the fireplace and chat. And that's another nice advantage to having the full continuum.
Anything else to add before we move on to the next question? Yeah. So I guess something I think people are interested in is, what do people say after they've moved in and made that adjustment? Because change is always hard, but what do they say to each of you after they've made the move? Was it a good thing, a bad thing? It's like, why did I ever move? Or start with you, Heather.
I'm going to talk about a gentleman that moved in with us back in, I believe it was in December. His son actually came to us and was concerned for his dad because he was living in an apartment alone and COVID was, full blown. So there was sometimes that his dad didn't see anybody for 6 to 8 weeks. He didn't go out, he didn't do anything. He was very reclusive. So we moved Gary into our community. And we started to see him blossom. He was really shy when he first came in and kind of reclusive, but he's really blossomed. And I can tell you, he often comes by my office in tears, and I get really emotional when I talk about him because he's somebody who, he's like the poster child for independent living. He will come into my office or say to the staff, thank you for saving me, because I was so lonely. I did not realize how lonely I was. And now I have friends and I feel like I have a family. I feel like there's people that care about me. And at the end of the day, that's why we do what we do. It's the connection with our residents, and to see making a difference in their life. You can't put a price on that.
Thank you. Mark.
Yeah, as we've spoken of already, when you have somebody that hasn't had the social interaction, the nutrition, a little bit of exercise, they typically, and it's rare that you don't see them blossom. But when they start getting those things that at the end of the day, we truly need. And as I said, we sometimes just slowly drift down and without those things. And then all of a sudden we start getting them back. Had a gentleman move in just about a month ago. He had lost his wife in February and he's still obviously grieving. But he was kind of going downhill, and he still sometimes will pull me aside and want to talk about his wife, and he'll get a little emotional, but I also see him in the dining room, kind of laughing and sitting with some of the same folks at his meals, and you just kind of see that light starting, and it's just it can be very powerful. Mm-hmm. And I just to keep harping on it, but there's some basic things that we all need, and oftentimes we're not getting them, and when we get them, it really shows. When
one of my residents that moved in, this was several years ago, It was the daughter and her son-in-law that did the tour. And they looked at me and they said, "You're never going to see her. She will be in her room. She will not come out." And I said, "Well, let us do our job and we'll encourage." And that's what we did. And it took about 6 weeks. We finally got her out of her room. I don't remember what the specific activity was, but from that moment forward, she was out for every meal. She was out for every activity. Some acclimate easier than others. But as with life, we all go through changes and nothing is perfect. So a couple of things that we have in place are, one, we do a customer satisfaction survey. That lets us know how we're doing and how we can be better. That's important. Opinion and our residents, it is their home. We are fortunate enough to work in their home, and what you tell us is important. So that is important, the customer satisfaction. And secondly, there is a resident council meeting held monthly. There's actually a president, vice president, and secretary. And again, you discuss things that you are liking and things that maybe you'd like to see changed. And the directors and myself, we are there by invitation only. And we go in and we talk with them and they give us a list of things that maybe they'd like to see changed. And we work on those lists together. So there's accountability from the staff, from the directors and the staff, that we're doing what you want us to do.
Wonderful. So just following up on that, what do you do to help new residents who are moving in not feel like they're the new kid at school, that first scary day of school and you don't know anybody? Is there anything in place to try to help someone, adapt or become comfortable more quickly?
Yes, there absolutely is. When someone moves, we're a new community, so we're ramping up right now. But when a resident moves in, we have a big cart with snacks. We're playing music. Staff lines up by the side of the room, balloons. We throw a big party. We have a big ribbon with the big scissors that we've all watched the mayors and such cut, and we have that in front of their room. So we make it a big deal when you move in, but that big deal doesn't stop at move in. It happens every day thereafter. All of the directors meet with the move in, and where you learn to make friends, you break bread at dinner and such, and that's generally a big place. And then in your programming, our lifestyle director is amazing and meets with them, gets them acclimated, lets them know where things are at. And then our concierge also is a wealth of information that they can call from 8 to 8, and they let them know what's going on as well. So there's never someone there for you. There's always someone that can help.
Wonderful. Heather, do you want to touch on that? And then Mark?
Absolutely. So from the leadership, starting with our administrator, all the way to the chef, everybody welcomes our new residents. It's really important. They're also part of the touring process. Whenever I have a tour, all of my leadership team is reaching out and saying hello. But more importantly, our residents are really part of the welcome committee. They get so excited when we have new residents. They'll be the first ones to come up and say, "So when are you moving in?" Because we're also new, and the residents are very excited about who's coming in. They want to hear the stories. They want to get to know you. And so we do a little welcome package when you first come in. And then our activities director is amazing. She really goes out of her way to meet them, to do social history about them, so that she gets to know you and get you involved in the different activities that are going on in our community. And then we have a couple of residents who are the unofficial welcome committee, where they will sit with a new person that's coming in and have a meal and kind of show them around, and really give their perspective about what it's like to live, in the independent community. So it's really a collaborative effort from the team to the residents.
Fantastic. I know one resident we helped move in recently, Kamiko, who was on our panel last month. She made a point to get to know the chef really well.
Oh yeah, that's usually the first person they get to know.
Get to know the chef. They're preparing your meal. So So Mark, so what about like dining time? You know, I'm new in the community. Is there anything in place so I, feel welcome at each meal time, so I'm not sitting at the table on my own? How do you kind of?
Yeah, at Cascades, what we do is we do a number of things. We've been around for 12 years, so we're pretty well established. As an example, Eileen is our daytime concierge. She's been there since day one. Michael, who works overnight, we have somebody there 24/7. He's been there 12 years. So we have that type of, consistency and experience. We also have an ambassadors club, which is made up of residents. And we have a leader, and we'll put together a little goodie bag, and we'll assign through the ambassadors a resident to meet with the new resident. Give them the little gift bag, go over some things, have their first meals with them. So that it's like the new kid at school. It helps kind of break that ice. We also have the directors, something we've been doing for about a year now, where a director will stop by, and we've got I think it's about 12 of us that will stop by, introduce ourselves, share what we do at the community. Certainly our chef will be doing that as well, and getting any feedback. We also are director of life enrichment. She and her team will meet with each new resident and get the background and see if they were, a veteran. We have a nice veterans wall honoring our veterans. So it's a combination of things to help kind of with that transition, because everybody goes through it. And as we've talked about just earlier, there might be some little, shyness and uncertainty and nervousness, but within a short period of time, you can see them start to thrive.
So another question, just following up from that. So I know we have lots of great communities here in the area, and I see Susie over there from 5 Star, one of our sponsors. And we heard from Laurie at the beginning, a little video with Laurie from Promenade on the River. And just knowing our communities, you all sound very similar in terms of making people feel welcome and a great service to our community. But if I'm sitting here in the audience or at home listening, what would be some of the questions I might ask as I go around and tour the different communities to work out which is the right one for me? What would be a good question I should ask to try to start to understand the differences in addition to what we've already covered today? Maybe Heather?
Well, and I always urge people to really make a list of questions of the things that are important to you. And when you call or when you come to the community, have those. But, it's important to know, how the community is run. It's important to know about the community, about the size of the apartments, about activities. And just, again, touching in on what's important to you, because what's important to one person may not be important to somebody else. And, some people they want to be really active. So I would ask about activities if that's important to you. If you're somebody who's a little more shy and quiet, maybe a little reclusive, I would ask about, what activities, what things can I do that are self-led, like taking a walk, are there walking trails, things like that. But just really making a list. I say the good list and the bad list, the pro list, the things that are really important to you, the hot buttons. Is it important for you to have a washer and dryer in your apartment? Or does it matter if you have, laundry facilities? Those kind of questions. The better your questions, the better we can help you with those. Because again, what's important to one person is not important to the other person. So I just really encourage people, make your list, and then we will evolve as we meet and go on a tour and kind of go through that.
Perfect. Mark?
Yeah, clearly, what's of interest and importance to you in a community, to give that some thought. The other thing, obviously, the location of the community, what it offers, those are the different things that go into it. We have an indoor pool. I've talked with people and they say, well, ever since I was 5 years old, I've been afraid of a pool. So we're not going to talk about the pool. But really do a little bit of homework. Obviously the Truth Series, educating yourself, listening to see what's out there. aside from location, a lot of the communities are there's probably more things that are similar than that are different. But as Heather said, what's important to you? What do you want? Is what's most important.
Excellent. Stacy.
So of course, they're just like both Heather and Marcus said, amenities mean a lot to some people and they're looking for certain things. Brick and mortar is very important, but the heart of the community is the staff. And so when you're touring, kind of look to see how the staff are interacting with residents. Ask to meet a staff member. If they're out and about, we'll always introduce them. Ask about the staff. Who is going to be taking care of your loved one? Someone yesterday mentioned it's important that the community is nice and comfortable and with amenities, but I want to know who's taking care of my brother, and I want to make sure it's clean. So everybody has their own list of items. So just like Heather said, take your list and write down the pros and cons, but your intuition will definitely kick in. I'm a big advocate of that. When you walk in somewhere, you'll know. You will really know. And after your tour, you'll really know.
You'll have a feeling.
You most definitely will.
So I took two things away for anyone who's considering for them or someone else looking at a community or even just wanting to be educated for who knows what in the future, was have a list of questions to ask. You all mentioned going on a tour, so I take that's an important part, going on a tour. Do I just tour one community and call it good, or should I go and experience multiple?
I think it's important to experience multiple because, I always say to resident or to potential residents, look at three communities. Look at three communities as far as different locations. It's really important to see, and like you had mentioned, your intuition, when you walk into a place, you are going to feel either the warmth of it or not. And usually when residents come to us, they say to us, it's the feeling that we got when we walked in the door. And I think that's so important. But yeah, I think it's important to look at more than one community just so that you can get comparison.
And we can come and have a meal, correct? To get a sense. We can sit with other residents and ask them for their opinion. Because obviously you guys are all good at sales. And the one thing I will say is we have fantastic communities here. These are fantastic communities. There are other sponsoring communities, Five Star, Promenade, Rebel Rancho are all fantastic. But I have been into other communities elsewhere, not necessarily in this area. Annette and I, when we've helped people when we used to be back in the Bay Area, and you can really get a sense of a good community versus a not so great community, just in terms of the staff. If they don't pay attention to you, if they're rude to you, that kind of tells you a lot. And especially over like meal time or what other residents have to say, if they're all grumpy and grumbly, and there's always a grumpy resident, but if they're all grumpy, then that tells you something too.
Can I touch on that
Yeah,
just for a second?
please, Helen.
One of the things that we really emphasize is when you call and you're asking about information, we always invite you in for a tour. And I will always kind of push to have you stay for a meal because I want you to have the experience of what it would be like to live there. You get to see the residents in action. You get to see the team in action. You're going to have a really good understanding of what it's going to be like. I usually don't sit with you during a meal. I'll usually, if you're bringing a friend in, we usually say, have a nice meal alone so that you can kind of talk about things and just kind of get the feel of the community. But if you come in alone, I'll sit you with the resident, somebody who has some similar interests that you have. And I just think it's a great opportunity for you to feel, and I really emphasize feel, what the community feels like and what it's going to feel like when you live there.
Can I participate in an activity?
Absolutely. We absolutely encourage that. We have a couple people that have come in for tours and have stayed for activities. We had a young lady come in last week. She came in for lunch. She got there about 11:45. She did not leave our community until 4:00. And yeah, we love that.
Can I play bingo and clean up?
You can play bingo, but you can't clean up the
Win,
game. Yeah, absolutely.
I might not have made friends.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to touch on, definitely see multiple communities. I think through True Series and your own research, maybe start big from your home and work it down so that you're not visiting 9 communities and it can get a little bit overwhelming. But to do a little homework from the comfort of your home, get it down to maybe 3 or 4 communities, and then absolutely go visit and 100% enjoy a meal there. All the communities offer that. At Cascades, we like to show off what we do. And it's nothing better than being able to sit there, enjoy a nice meal and observe. And it's been hard with COVID, but we're getting back to that. And there's nothing better to be able to do that and really kind of just sit back and watch, ask questions and observe. And I think as been said, you can get a feel usually from the get-go. And then if you're there for an hour or two, you can really start to get a better feel in person.
So I have just one more question before I open it up to our audience. If someone's sitting here in the room or at home, I have no plans at all of moving, not for the next 15 years, but I've never been to one of the communities. So I'm not saying never will I move, but right now I have no plans. I'm very happy where I am. But I'd like to learn more and experience the community. Am I still welcome to come and do a tour, or should I wait 15 years until maybe I'm more serious?
I absolutely think it's important for you to start the process. That way you get to see what's out there. Senior living, whether it's independent living, assisted living, memory care, it has changed and it keeps evolving. So it's important to see what's out there and kind of you can create your list from that. And I would, even if it's like 5 years out or 10 years out, you know what? Go and see the communities maybe every year or every 6 months to see how they're evolving. And you're going to be able to tell where you're going to want to be. So yeah, I absolutely encourage that.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the keys is that life happens sometimes and you don't know what's happening down the road. So kind of the sooner you have an idea, you educate yourself, the better. I'm working with potential residents that came in our door 12 years ago, and they were like in their early 70s. And it's getting closer to where they need to maybe do something. And so there's that comfort of being educated and kind of knowing and feeling comfortable if you've been at a community, and you come by once a year for an activity or a meal. It's going to be easier to make that transition when you need to, or if suddenly you need to make a move, you're going to feel a lot more comfortable making that move by doing some of the homework.
I'm a big proponent. Knowledge is king. And we're so fortunate to be in these times where we have these options for seniors. We all know some of the things of the past, the convalescent homes and things that they were called. My sister was a candy striper and sometimes would come home and just tears. So it's so different now. Our seniors are so important. We learn from our seniors every day, and we finally have these wonderful places. I have something good to say about every community out there. You'll never hear me say anything negative about another community. We all have our really good points, and we're all here for our seniors. As a former banker, one of my favorite sayings is the best time to get a loan is when you don't need one. And much with this, research, do the research, know where you're at, and be prepared when the time comes. The outcome is always better if you do it on your own terms, but there are times when we do have emergency situations. But again, knowledge is king, and we're out there to give that to you. Use us as a resource. Come and visit with us. I always say that. If you don't choose our community, please use me as a resource. Navigating these times are not easy, and they don't come with an owner's manual. So we're here to help. Most
Very
definitely.
well said, Stacey. Thank you. And speaking of resources, just before we jump to question and answers, everyone here in the room should have a couple of handouts. Annette and I have a downsizing made easy book to help people who are in the downsizing process. You'll find, I think there's like 8 pages in your handout. For those who are at home, we weren't able to put this up online, but we'll have copies here next month if you'd like copies of these. But one of the handouts everyone here in the room has is questions to ask when choosing a senior community. I think it's 3 pages of questions, is it? So just to help you, if you or someone you know, you can pass it on to them who might be looking at communities, there's some questions to kind of get you started that if you were touring any of these communities, you could ask. And they probably don't all apply. You know, it's like, do you take pets? Maybe you don't have pets, so you can cross that one out. But there'll be ones there, it's like, oh yeah, that's a really good question, that would apply to me. So that's one of the handouts. And then the second handout we have is a matrix for comparing the different communities. So as you go around the communities, because it can kind of get overwhelming if you go and visit 3 communities, it's like, what did that one have? Did that one have laundry or was it the other one? So it's kind of a 3-page, is it 3 pages, 4 pages, the checklist that we have in there of all the differences, all the different things you might want to consider. And again, some will be important to you, some won't. But again, it's just another really handy resource if you're touring communities to be able to like take notes of, even if you're not moving for 10, 15 years, you'll at least know what the differences are of the communities that you went to. So hopefully that helps. And again, for those who are on Zoom at home, if you come next month in person, next month we hope to have the whole room open and maybe the other side back to having 150 people in here now that we're all getting vaccinated. So those who are comfortable are welcome next month. I hope I'm not jinxing it, but I was told high probability that we can all be back in person. So we were talking about, so resources. So someone else, several people always asking us, well, what are the communities in the area? So you now know the faces of 3 communities, Susie over there with 5-star. But how do we find out where all the communities are? So on our website and in your handout, if you go to our website, janellegroup.com, and click on senior living, and I can't read it, this screen needs replacing. What does that say? Local retirement communities. It has a list of all of our communities here in the area in Reno, Carson City, Sparks, etc. So if you're wanting to know where all of the communities are and what they offer, whether it's assisted living, independent living, memory care, etc., you can find them on that website. There's also a community booklet we put out that's free that has all of the communities, and there's some on the back table there, or anyone at home on the website, you can download a PDF version or just come along to one of the seminars. We always have copies of the community directory. And then there's also a map on the website. So you can see where all the communities are located. You can click on the little dot and it'll tell you what that community is and what it offers and so forth. So if you're looking for more information or know someone who is, I think it's the only place we're able to find that has all of the communities, and hence why we put it together. You're not going to get sold anything there, like some of the services where they're going to harass you and try to move you in somewhere. Oh, one other thing I wanted to share. Who did a community bus tour with us like 2 years ago? One person, 2? Another one? Yeah. So we would like to do another community bus tour again this year, now that things are opening up, and we plan to do it in late August or early September for people who are interested. And for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, let me just quickly share this. Or attempt to.
The importance of tours and having a group tour like this is that residents or prospective residents get to see the different communities, how they differ from each other, how they're the same, how to compare what they really want in a retirement community.
We're so glad that you're here today. Real quick, we're just gonna kind of go over how today will work. First thing is we're gonna do a quick movie. Then we're going to head over to the fireside room. We'll have lunch and answer questions, and then we will also do a tour of this building and the campus.
I think anybody that is going into retirement, this is an ideal situation. When you consider the upkeep on a large home, this isn't that expensive. It's comparable to what we would be spending on upkeep in our own home.
These tours are great because it opens up your world to what the alternatives are out there for seniors in transition. And this is good not only for, obviously for seniors to learn this, but also for their spouses and their families to understand what's available as they help their seniors transition into the next phase of life.
So we're walking into our independent living section. So we have 278 apartments here. It is a modeled apartment, so you get to see what type of furniture you should be bringing in and how much it fits.
It has been a wonderful experience. Until now, I thought retirement homes are like nursing homes where everybody is in a wheelchair and, is not communicating, not participating in any activities and, just kind of ready to die. But these places are eye-opening. Everybody is so active, interactive, and they achieve so much.
I very much enjoyed the tour. They broke it up with information, snacks, lunch, ice cream. Got to meet a lot of really nice ladies.
A lot of people see retirement communities as something that was in the past, more like a nursing home. So a lot of people are very surprised, pleasantly, when they come to communities and see what amenities we could offer and how much it can feel like home.
I look forward to seeing other facilities so I can make a good choice.
So they had me at lunch, ice cream and snacks. I was sold on the idea. Let me just stop the sharing. So hopefully that gives you a better feel for those who haven't been to a community, what it kind of looks like and what our day is. We'll go in 2 or 3 different communities and we'll probably do maybe 3 on one day, 3 on another day. So we just wanted to gauge interest at the moment, who would be interested in participating. And
The importance.
oops. So are you able to put up a poll, Alexa, or do I need to? You can? Yeah, so, okay. So for those at home, just hang with us for a moment. So our next, well, let me go back to the community bus tour. So our plan again is end of August, early September. We would have a bus come here like we did last time, pick everyone up, say at 9 o'clock. We would go 2 or 3 communities. We'd have, morning tea at one, lunch at another, snack in the afternoon, then have you all back here, those who are participating around 2, 3 o'clock. We'll work out the logistics and the timing. And we'd let you know in advance which 3 communities we're going to do. And then on another date, we'd do probably another 3 communities, depending on the level of interest. And just a great way to be able to go and experience the communities in a nice, safe group. So, no one's going to sell you anything because we're all going to be together. And last time it was a lot of fun. I know Annette and I had a blast with those who participated. I see several faces. Yeah, it was a fun day and a great way just to learn about our communities and see these guys in action within their communities and the residents, and you get to talk to whoever you want to talk to. Yeah.
We would love that.
Yeah. Annette's, Alexa's saying she can't launch the poll, so let me work out what I've done wrong. It'll be so much easier when everyone's back here in the room. I won't be so stressed. What am I missing, Alexa? Why? Oh, there we are, polls. Okay, so let me put up those who are at home. For those who are here in the room, you have a yellow evaluation form. So if you're interested in attending the community bus tour, down towards halfway down, it says, check if you'd like to, if you would be interested in the group bus tour at several local senior living communities in late August, early September. If you check that box, then we'll reach out to you once we have it all organized. For those who attend regularly, you know that we do stuff and we work out how to do it later. We get your interest and then we make it all happen. And then the upcoming events on June the 10th, we have the truth about owning real estate, owning and selling real estate. I can't see it because the screen's blocked out on the poll. So that's on June 10th. We're going to have a property manager on the panel to talk about things like, if I'm looking at moving into a retirement community, what do I do with my current home? Do I sell it and take the money? Do I rent it out and keep a stream of income? Is that scary to rent out a property? Are there good property managers? What does that look like and feel like? What are tax implications of selling a home, selling a rental? Is purchasing rentals, maybe you have money somewhere and it's not earning a lot at the moment. Would it make sense to put that into a property and have an income stream? So we're going to talk about a lot of things that's around owning your existing home, a rental, purchasing rentals, selling rentals, the tax and the logistics and all of those kind of things. And then on July 15th, we have the truth about trusts, wills, and probate. Yeah, so we'll have at least our resident attorney, Rich Schultz from the Schultz Law Group will be on the panel, and then probably a couple of other legal people as well. providing advice on the things we need to know. So we did a similar topic, maybe not last year, the year before, but we always mix it up and it'll be different again. And Rich is always fun to talk to. Community bus tour I covered. Oh, Downsizers Club. So I was meant to mention that. So last month we took a poll if there'd be an interest in a Downsizers Club. So for those who said yes, we decided we are going to move forward with it, and a packet of information went out sometime this week. Is that right? This week. So if you are interested in, once you've read the details, I think there was a form there you can mail back to us or just call us and we'll get you signed up for those who are interested in the Downsizers Club. I covered all of the housekeeping. Yep, thank you. So let's jump to questions. I'll leave the poll there for a moment. Yes. We need a microphone. Okay. Perfect. So if anyone in the room has a question, feel free to walk up to the microphone here. If you're at home on Zoom, raise your hand and we'll unmute you so everyone can hear your question, or type into the Q&A box. So on the bottom of your Zoom screen, which camera am I looking at, Alexa? One of these cameras, that one? I'm probably not even in front of the camera, am I? Off to the side, no one can see me. So if you're at home, at the bottom of your Zoom screen, there's like a Q&A box where you can type in a question, or there's raise hand, and that indicates to us that you have a question, and we'll unmute you and everyone in the room can hear, including the panelists, and we'll respond to your question. So yes, Annette. Annette has a question. So if you can come up to the microphone so everyone can hear you.
So I actually have a couple questions. One is power of attorney. So when you move into an assisted living or memory care, you need to have a power of attorney. Is that the case with independent living, or how does that work?
You know, typically for independent, you do not need it. For assisted living, you don't need it, but it's a good idea to start maybe getting that. For memory care, you would need it.
Got it. Okay. So across the board, then assisted living, you don't necessarily need it. It's not an automatic.
No, as long as you're, haven't been deemed, by a doctor or whatever, and you can sign yourself, the agreements and all that. So typically assisted living, you can do it. But the idea is if you might want to start thinking about getting one, once again, being prepared, educate yourself. But for memory care, yes, you would need it.
Great. And then the other question I have is about licensing. Now, I know independent living is just like an apartment, so you're not licensed, but assisted living and memory care, you are licensed. So if I'm looking for a community, where do I go to check out your licensing to make sure you meet all the criteria that the state's requirements are?
There is a website through DPS. It's called HCQC. You can check on all communities, what is going on in that community. It's all public knowledge.
Great.
State of Nevada.
Perfect.
What a beautiful looking lady at the microphone. I guess I can say that because she's my wife.
I have another question. Actually, it's just for Mark. I understand, and I don't know if it's still the same. So Cascades had a membership that you could join if you were not residing at Cascades, where you could participate in activities. Do you still have that?
Yes, we do. It's Sierra Fit.
Sierra Fit. Okay, great. And how many people are members of that?
We've offered it for 12 years, so there's a number of them. And they can come and use they get a discount in our dining room, use the pool. They have our health club activities. So it kind of, especially for folks who live in the immediate area, it was kind of very inexpensive health club membership. But it also gets you, once again, as we've talked about, kind of getting your feet wet and getting a feel for a community. It can help in that sense.
Very smart. I like it.
Yeah. And the last question that I have, we oftentimes work with people that need to sell their house, and they're trying to figure out the transition between, okay, do I sell my house? Because ideally it's better if they move into your community first and then sell the house. But then if they have a house payment and they're paying for the community, do you ever run specials, or is there anything that you can help with that transition for people?
Sometimes. We've had a number just in the last 6 months where they've been able to keep their home. They've been able to kind of downsize, which eventually when they go to sell their home, typically with less furniture in it, it can kind of sell better, move in. And then, also if you're a little uncertain, gee, am I going to like this? We've had a number of people recently, they'll keep their home, move in and give it 2 or 3 months and then put the house on the market. Not everybody's able to do that. To your point, Annette, financially, we'll certainly listen and work and do what we can, but we don't have like an exact program with that.
But is that something that, as somebody that's looking to move into your community, is that something that they could talk to you about? Can you look at case by case, or is it just across the board that?
No, we'd certainly look at it case by case.
Agree.
Okay, great. Yeah, anybody else?
You brought up my question. It would be pets. I'm guessing they're not allowed.
We are pet friendly, independent living. We really love to have your furry friends because they're part of the family.
Okay.
There's usually an additional pet fee. It's a one-time deposit.
That was my next question.
But yeah, they're absolutely welcome.
The
and we
other
encourage
two,
it.
assisted living, I would guess wouldn't be.
We allow pets. Yes, we are pet friendly. I know it would be hard for me to separate from my pets, and I know how important that is. So we are pet friendly in assisted living. Memory support, we're not, but we do bring pets back there to visit with the residents often.
And would that be true for most communities here in this area, that they're pet friendly?
Yeah, I would say the vast majority are pet friendly. And at Cascades for independent living and assisted living, we are like Stacy at Clearwater at our memory care. Residents can't have them in their apartment, but we do bring them in and they can go visit, and we try to make it because it is important. But also everything kind of always comes back to the safety and general welfare of the resident. So like, the 90-pound dogs, we kind of frown on that, Yeah, smaller is better.
Well, I think if you need assisted living, 90-pound dog isn't helping you much.
No.
Yeah.
We actually had a golden doodle with us. So we have everything from a Chihuahua up to a golden doodle. And it's important.
Yeah. I have another question.
Please.
How flexible is the transportation? I don't drive, so is it certain times of the week, certain times of the day, anytime you want to go? Obviously, you need a driver. So is it just for doctor's appointments? Is it for shopping? Is it for going gambling?
We're just going to go through.
Like that gambling, yes.
So at Cascades, and once again, we've kind of ironed it out over 12 years. We've got a nice system where it's for doctor's appointments, casino, restaurants, Save Mart, Walmart. Most of that was curtailed during COVID, except for the doctor's appointments. And, we'll go as an example to, North Reno, near Renown and St. Mary's. We go there Mondays and Thursdays. Okay. So as you put your doctor's appointments out there, you want to, if that your doctor's in that area, you're going to make them for Monday or Thursday.
Is it like strictly between 9 to 5, or is there evenings too, or anything?
It varies. We'll go like during the holidays. We'll take residents out and see some of the sites around Christmas and different things like that. So it varies. I'm sure that most of the communities, once again, are going to do doctor's appointments. They're going to do some of those type things, right?
Yeah, we don't want to just live for the doctors.
Right.
No.
Get out. No, it's we have outings for the men. A lot of different things.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Did you want to say something, Heather?
I did. I just wanted to touch on that. So at Mountain Lakes, we We really will take, we're your driver. If we have some residents that just want to go to the grocery store, they want to go shopping, we will take you. It's like your own concierge. But we also take residents out for meals. Like a lot of times we'll go to a casino and they'll have a group event, or we'll go on trips. But if you need to just go to the store or go shopping, you simply ask the concierge and we will schedule it in and take you. So it's not just doctor's appointments.
Great question. Thank you for asking that. Thank you, Kirsten.
Welcome. This question is for Mark, from Patricia Flynn. What is the cost of joining Sierra Fit?
It's $500.
And is that monthly?
No, it's a one-time. And then down the road, if you decide to move in, we put that towards moving in.
That sounds like a screaming deal.
Yeah,
I
I
thought
told
monthly,
you.
well, that'd be really expensive.
I
I was
mean-
thinking like
I mean,
annual, but you
that-
said one time, it just kept getting better.
As I shared, I mean, somebody joined, 10 years ago. And so, yeah.
Pretty good deal.
This question is from Ruth. What are the weight limits for dogs? My golden doodle is 66 pounds.
So the golden doodle is welcome at Mountain Lakes Estates.
So is there typically a weight level
We-
across communities without being specific?
Yeah,
Is there-
ours is roughly 35 pounds.
Okay. So it varies by community.
And if it, we'll do an eye test and, but typically around 35. And once again, it's for the safety of the residents.
So a hand test as well.
Yeah.
If you lose your hand, the dog's probably not. Yeah.
Same
But if it
same
licks you to
thing.
death-
We'll look at it case by case. We, prefer the smaller dogs, but it's mainly the safety of our residents that we're looking at.
Yeah, let's give that a go. We love hearing real voices through the speakers. Ted and Elaine, can you hear me? We have you unmuted. Go ahead and ask your question. Suspense is killing me. Ted and Elaine, can you hear me? Because I can't hear you just yet. Let's maybe move to the next one and we'll come back to Ted and Elaine.
Yes, yes, we can.
Oh, Ted and Elaine?
Yes, we can hear.
You loud and clear. Ask your question.
Didn't get the question.
No, what is your question?
No, we don't have a question.
You don't have a question, you're just testing
No.
the hand. Well, thank you for participating. We appreciate that.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question? Are you having fun today? Who was the next one, Alexa? Terry and Dale, you're unmuted. You there, Terry, Dale? They might have had their hand up from earlier too, perhaps when we did that sound test. And Nate, you're unmuted, Nate. Go ahead. This is working really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
You there, Nate? I'm feeling lonely, Nate. Talk to me. Feel like Dr. Ruth or whoever it is on the radio. No? Okay. Okay, I think we're good on questions. Anyone last chance here going once, twice, three times? Anyone else have a question? Well, yeah. Do you want me to, I can walk the mic over actually.
I don't need the mic.
Well, no one at home can hear you though without one.
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
We can hear you.
We can, but they can't. Yeah. Actually, if everyone turns up there, which camera are we looking at?
Yeah. My main question
the back
is,
one.
is there an age limit that you have to be before you can come in?
To independent living, one of the communities specific?
No, any of them.
So independent, the age requirement is 55 or over.
What about health? Do I have to be at a certain health level to move into?
For independent living, you are responsible for your own health. So you have to be able to take care of yourself or have home health come in and take care of you.
So are there instances where you might say to someone, no, independent is not for you?
And we've met with some people where we felt that they really needed more care and service. And so we would refer them to a assisted living community.
And does anyone get turned down from assisted living? Is there a point where assisted living is not appropriate?
Certainly, yes.
Memory, I guess.
Memory
Yep.
or skilled nursing.
Skilled
Those are your, so yes, that's part of the assessment.
So if we have no more questions, I just want to thank our panelists for being here today. You guys were fantastic as always. Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you to our audience and everybody at home. Thank you.
Thank you.